This video is going to end with me telling you about a clue I found in Mario Kart World that hints that there might be more to Rainbow Road than we expect. However, that's not what this video was supposed to be about. It was supposed to be just me telling you about a handful of small details I discovered about Mario Kart World that I thought were really cool and worth sharing. You see, I'm really excited about this game, and with it being less than a week away, I thought it'd be cool to just take a moment and appreciate some of the small details, because I think that while they are indeed small, they're worth celebrating and appreciating. So it really was going to be just that simple. I even had a thumbnail in the works and everything. Don't laugh, it wasn't finished yet. It doesn't matter, I'm not going to use it anyway. So here I was, ready to make this simple video, but as I dug through the footage, I found a fascinating clue about Rainbow Road that I think is worth sharing with you. So first, let's talk about those other small, interesting details I found. Then at the end, we'll talk about my wild theory. I would love for you to come on this whole journey with me, but if you're feeling impatient and you want to skip straight to the Rainbow Road theory at the end, you can just find that chapter down in the description, and I promise I won't be mad. To kick things off, it looks like there are tornadoes in this game. I honestly had not noticed this until just recently, but if you look in the background right here behind Yoshi, there is very clearly a tornado back there. Now, what does it do? I bet it's likely that if you hit it, you just get thrown up or spun out or both. Does it make you lose items? I don't know, but I love to see this here. Tornadoes are something we've seen in other Mario games, so it's cool to see them make an appearance here. This is the new Kamek item in Mario Kart World, and while Nintendo was clear that what it does is transform other players into a certain type of enemy, they've been intentionally hiding its other effect from us. Which is weird because if you watch the treehouse footage, it's actually pretty obvious. When you use Kamek, it actually flies ahead of you on the track, transforming players as it goes, and whatever enemy it transforms that player into, it drops a bunch of that same enemy on the course as obstacles for the racers. One other really cool thing to note here is that Kamek is joining a small handful of items that can be used to target the first player. When Kamek flies ahead, it always goes all the way to the front and affects everyone starting with the first player, so it's just really good to see one more way we can mess with whoever's in first. I really love this next detail. I'm pretty sure they didn't mean to show this off, but you can start free roaming with no load screen directly from the main menu. When you have the menu up, if you just press plus, you can go straight to driving with no interruptions. As someone who is going to spend most of his time in free roam in this game, I am very happy about this. One thing that I think is really going to make this map feel like the Mushroom Kingdom is that you'll be encountering enemies of all kinds all over the place. There are Goombas, bullies, fire piranhas, hammer bros, bullet bill cars, skeeters, and tons more. Now, in most cases, these enemies are bad news, and most will even chase you down on the course. However, there are at least a couple that will help you out if you drive right. This updated version of the Bramball enemy actually forms a boost portal when both of its feet are touching the ground. So if you can time it right and drive between its legs when the portal is up, you get a boost. Pretty cool. The other example I found of enemies helping you out is Whomps become Romps. Whomps become ramps. If you can time it right, if you wait for this Whomp to go face down, it's a convenient ramp for you to get a little speed boost. Once again, pretty cool. I hope there are more enemies like this that can be used to your advantage. We'll know pretty soon. A big feature they're really pushing in Mario Kart World is costumes. Everybody's getting costumes, except they're not. I realized when I was watching this gameplay footage that when this penguin eats this food, it does get the boost that food gives you, but nothing happens costume-wise. Once I saw that, I then went back and started watching other footage, and sure enough, all the new enemies added to the game do not have any costumes. They always all have their default look. Now, there are exceptions here. If an enemy was in the game previously, it has costumes. So King Boo has costumes, Koopa Troopa has costumes, so on and so forth. But this massive new list of random enemies they've dumped into the game, none of them get costumes. And I think it makes sense because that'd be a ton of work, but it's weird because that's even less incentive to drive as those characters. It just makes them feel even more like filler characters, which is kind of already what we suspected, to be fair. Either way, if you want costumes, you're gonna have to stick to a classic character. Perhaps the part of this game I'm looking forward to most is driving around in free roam and discovering all the secrets. The P-switches, the coins, the question mark buttons, all of it. Now, Nintendo seems pretty confident that they have blanketed this world with plenty of things to find, but how dense really are the secrets? Well, if this screenshot is any indication, pretty dense. If we pause this video right here, you can actually see 3 P-switches from this one angle. Here's the first one. Do you see the others? I'll give you a second. Here's the second, and here's the third. So if we can see 3 P-switches just from this one angle, who knows how many of them are scattered over the entire map? For that matter, how many coins and question mark buttons are just in this area alone? To me, this just means there's plenty to do, and I cannot wait. This is a small thing, but it's a question I couldn't get answered anywhere else, and they kind of answered it by accident. When you're driving down the highway in free roam, there are these boost pads everywhere, but they're obviously always pointed in the direction you're going. So I just wondered, what happens if you're driving down that highway the other way? Well, the answer is in the minimap right here. As soon as you face the other direction, that boost pad flips around immediately. It makes sense, it's a simple thing, but here's my other question. What happens when 2 players sharing free roam mode drive towards that boost pad from opposite directions? I'll have to test that out. There's nothing like seeing a nod to an old video game, and this cart that Shy Guy is driving caught my eye. It's a flying carpet with golden snakes along the edges. Now, if you're not familiar, this is a callback to Super Mario Bros. 2. There's a flying carpet that you can hop on and ride, and there are snake enemies everywhere. Really cool callback. There's a ton of other callbacks like this, but I wanted to point this one out because it's cool to see them doing these for even the least popular Mario games. Comic book style exclamations are back, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we haven't seen these since Mario Kart 64. Shout out to Poomp. But now in World, whether it's Bob-ombs, Super Horns, or Blue Shells, these comic book words are back, and I love this. It adds so much character and fun to the game. All right, last one before we go to the Rainbow Road theory. Remember in that first trailer when Birdo drove inside the back of that semi-truck and took control of it? Well, apparently you can do the same thing with a helicopter. In this very brief clip here, you can see Luigi driving up into the back of the helicopter, the door shuts, and then it takes off and flies. Now, we really don't know much else about it. It could just be a static thing that gets him over this little gap and then drops him. I kind of hope it's more than that, though. I hope that you can get in and actually fly around a bit, and it would be really awesome if in free roam you could hop into a helicopter and just fly around indefinitely. Somehow I don't think so, but here's hoping. Okay, here we are. Let's talk about Rainbow Road. Now, before we get into it, I want to tell you about a little bonus detail I found, and that is, I think I know what it looks like. Every Rainbow Road over the years has had a unique aesthetic to it, whether it's the blocky look of the SNES version or the liquid glassy look of the 3DS version. And if this trophy is any indicator, this is what Rainbow Road is going to look like. Personally, I'm a big fan. I can't wait to see it fully laid out. All right, let's get into it. As I was watching through this footage, I noticed this shot of Luigi driving towards this big sign that says Home of the Rainbow Fragment. Rainbow Fragment, what's that about? You can also see this giant glassy looking superstar that seems to have gone dim, kind of wedged awkwardly into the side of the cliff here. To me, it doesn't look like something that was put there intentionally as a decoration. It looks like something that fell from the sky. Now, if it's called the Rainbow Fragment, wouldn't that mean it fell from Rainbow Road? And if it fell from Rainbow Road and landed there, doesn't that mean that Rainbow Road is above it? Maybe not directly above it, but above it nearby somewhere, right? So to figure this out, we have to find where Luigi is on the map right now. Well, how do we do that? Let's take a closer look. If we rewind a bit to this reverse shot of Luigi here, we see that he's driving up an incline in the city with the ocean behind him, and off to the right there, we see this San Francisco looking bridge with a huge Mario Kart sign suspended in the middle of it. Now, where else have we seen that sign? Ah, there it is. Now this will be much easier to find on the map. Here it is right here, and here's Peach's castle really close by. So during this sequence, we can see that Rainbow Road is going to appear in the sky above what's basically the center of the map. Makes sense. So now that we have that as a point of reference, where's Luigi? Well, he's right here on this city street, and there's the sign he can see from where he's driving. Now that is really far away from Peach Stadium and the Mario Kart sign. If Rainbow Road is above the center of the map, how in the world would a fragment of it fall all the way over there? So what does this mean? What's the point? I think it could mean that either A, Rainbow Road is enormous, or B, there are multiple Rainbow Road tracks, not just one. And maybe even all the Rainbow Road tracks from the past Mario Kart games are coming back and are going to be scattered all over the sky. I want to pause right here and acknowledge how much I am extrapolating from such a tiny detail. I know it's a long shot, but I saw it, I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I realized they could be trying to tell us something. I don't know. If the game shows up next week and it turns out I'm completely wrong, feel free to jump into the comments and call me a big old dummy. But if I'm right, I mean, we get like half a dozen Rainbow Roads. We all win. So, what do you think? Dare I ask? Am I off base here? Am I crazy? Is there another direction you think this whole thing is going? I feel like I've asked you guys a lot lately if I'm crazy. Whatever it is you're thinking, please leave me a comment. I'd love to know. And before you go, I'm going to be live streaming the unboxing and setup of Nintendo Switch 2 and Mario Kart World gameplay right here on YouTube and on Twitch on Thursday, June 5th, about 10 a.m. Central Time. Please feel free to subscribe to get notifications when I go live. I am so excited to share this experience with you guys. I'll see you in a few days.